Hello everyone, this is The World According to Jason and welcome to another episode of my Japan travel series. Today we'll be visiting Kyoto, where we'll be spending the next 3 days exploring some of the many beautiful places that Kyoto and the surrounding area has to offer. I fell in love with Kyoto from the first time I visited the city. Now every time I return to Japan, I plan to spend time here. So join me on this 3-day adventure as I show you some of the many amazing things that this beautiful city has to offer. Home to nearly 1.5 million residents, this city has plenty to keep you busy. There's so much rich history as well as beautiful temples, UNESCO World Heritage sites, amazing restaurants, stupidly delicious street food, and fun souvenirs that 3 days is definitely not enough to see it all. What I'm going to share here is by no means an exhaustive list, but it's some of my favorite things to do in Kyoto. So let's not waste any more time and jump right into it. If you're following along the route that we took, Kyoto is just a short bullet train ride away from Osaka. We arrived in the early afternoon, and one of the first places we visited was Kyoto Castle. Admission cost 600 yen, which will let you tour the inside of the castle grounds. When we drove past it, we noticed a huge line of people waiting to get in, which was actually kind of strange as it was after the castle had closed. After some quick research, we discovered that the castle opens up 1 week a year from 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m., and that's in the first week of April. This is the only time of the year that you're able to get into the castle at night. This was such a beautiful experience, and one that we had accidentally stumbled upon. This is why it's worth it to be flexible with your agenda when traveling, as you never know what amazing things you might accidentally stumble upon. If you're lucky enough to be there during this time, and you want to do this, I highly recommend that you get there no later than 5. If you plan on going during the evening, the line actually gets extremely long, and you might not be able to get to see as much or even get in if you show up too late. As you make your way along the guided one-way path through the different cherry blossom trees, you'll come to a separate area that has an additional entrance fee. It only costs an extra 200 yen, so I highly recommend it. It's a far more manicured garden, and there's this amazing projected display on a giant stand that resembles an open book. Let's take a peek. Here's a quick pro tip. If you make your way back towards the entrance after dark, you'll also be treated to this awesome projection show at one of the main entrances. You'll probably be pretty hungry by the time you finish your walking tour of the castle, so head on over to the nearby Menbaka Fire Ramen for a once-in-a-lifetime ramen experience. There isn't much seating here, so be prepared to wait up to an hour during peak dining times. This quaint little shop serves up hearty bowls of ramen with a unique twist. It isn't called fire ramen for nothing. The staff are all super friendly, and they even have a setup to record the scene unfold before you. Now, you might be wondering, how does the actual food taste? The flames definitely add a strong smoky taste to it, and it was a pretty good bowl of ramen. However, it was a bit too garlicky for my taste. It's definitely not a bad bowl of ramen by any means, but there are a lot more delicious options out there. The main reason I strongly recommend this place is simply for the fire show. Make sure to get a good night's sleep because it's going to be an early start for day 2. I recommend getting out of the hotel or hostel at around 6 a.m. in order to grab some breakfast at a konbini or local convenience store, and get a cab out to the first stop for the day, the Fushimi Inari Shrine. You might wonder why I recommend getting there so early. Well, it's because if you don't do this, there's going to be literally thousands of tourists, and it just won't be the same awesome experience that you could have if you get there early enough. If you happen to get there between 6:30 and 7, you'll be among the few people brave enough, or stupid enough depending on how you look at it, to get there that early. This amazing site consists of winding paths up a beautiful mountain to a shrine that dates back to the year 711 AD. There's something special about being able to go through these gates without the distraction and noise of other people. Plus, getting there super early is especially important if you want those oh-so-important selfies for the gram of just you with dozens of beautiful red gates in a forest setting without any other random people in the shot. The entire trip up and down consists of about 2.5 miles, so definitely wear comfy shoes and bring some water. All along the trip, you'll pass through roughly 1,000 gates, which have all been donated by Japanese businesses, with the amount of the donation dictating how big the gate will be. On one side of the gate, you'll see Japanese kanji, dictating the name of the company that made the donation as well as when it was made. About halfway up, you'll be treated to an awesome panoramic view of the city, and a lot of people are just going to end up turning around at this point and heading back. I recommend to carry on, as the path will go through some beautiful forest area, and fewer people venture out this far, so there's even more of a sense of seclusion. The entire round trip took us about 3 to 4 hours, but we took our time. There are plenty of little offshoots from the main path that will lead to these beautiful little shrines along the way, and it was a really cool experience to be able to stop off and check them out. Whatever you do, just don't rush through it. At times, it can be a pretty intense climb up seemingly endless amounts of stairs, so don't feel bad if you need to take a few breaks. Now, I'm going to be honest, I was expecting a more impressive view from the top, but with all the trees, you can't really see much. It still is a very beautiful place and totally worth the effort to reach the summit, so please do not miss out on this opportunity. As you begin to work your way back to the main entrance, you'll start to see why it was such a good idea to get there so early. If you start getting back to the main entrance between 9 and 10 a.m., you're going to see hordes of people just starting their journey up the mountain. Once you get back to the main area, you'll also notice that all those little souvenir shops and street food stalls that were closed when you first arrived are now open for business. I recommend picking up a few little trinkets and also trying some of the street food before heading to your next destination. You especially can't go wrong with a food stall that makes fresh orange juice right in the orange itself. It was pretty expensive for what it was at 500 yen, but it's so delicious that I felt it was worth it. After you finish trying some of the street food, head on over to Matsubara-Dori for some more amazing food, shopping, and sightseeing. To maximize the limited time you may have in Kyoto, I recommend taking a cab from the Fushimi Inari Shrine to Matsubara-Dori. It might be a bit more expensive, but if you're only there for a limited number of days, it's totally worth it to be able to see as much as you can. The cab driver should drop you off near the tour bus parking area, which is the perfect place to begin your journey. The majority of the street is pedestrian only, and it is a non-stop array of souvenir shops, snack shops, cafes, and small restaurants. There is so much to see and do here that it can easily take up the remainder of the afternoon. Pretty close to the beginning of the pedestrian-only part of the street, you'll notice a big stand of Totoro from My Neighbor Totoro. If you go down that hallway, you'll find a really cool shop with tons of Studio Ghibli memorabilia. If you're a big fan of Studio Ghibli like myself, you're going to love stopping at this shop. A little further up the street on the left, you'll come across a beautiful little shop that is selling an amazing local delicacy. This shop does sell other type of biscuits, but the real draw here are the green tea flavored ones. These things are stupidly delicious. Both sides of the biscuit are crunchy biscuits packed with a subtle green tea flavor, and in between them is a small square of scrumptious white chocolate. Now, they are a little bit pricey, but they come in beautiful gift boxes and make the perfect present for family, friends, or coworkers back home. As you continue making your way up the street, you'll come to the entrance of the stunning Kiyomizu-Dera Temple. This is a very popular attraction, so be prepared to make your way through huge crowds of people. This famous temple has been marked as a UNESCO World Heritage Site and traces its roots to the early Heian period. The buildings that you see today can be traced back to 1633, and an interesting fact about them is that there wasn't a single nail used in their construction. You can explore the park and grounds surrounding the main temple for free, but if you want to go inside, there's a small entrance fee. I highly recommend spending the money, as the inside of the temple is absolutely beautiful, and there's a platform that gives a breathtaking view of the surrounding area. Definitely give yourself a few hours to really explore the whole area without feeling rushed. A quick pro tip is, if you visit in the later part of the afternoon, by the time you leave it will be dark, which provides an awesome new perspective of the temple. The well-lit structures take on a whole new form, and it is something that is definitely worth checking out. And as a bonus, you'll get to make your way down the commercial street again, which has a different vibe at night as well. By the time you finish exploring the area, you'll probably be starving. If you're anything like me, you'll have a special affinity for gyoza, and if you do, I have the perfect place for you. It's the Sanjo Kiyamachi branch of Gyoza Chao. The fact that this place has limited seating and it's wildly popular means that you might be waiting for up to a few hours to get in, but trust me, it's totally worth it. Just in case you happen to visit, let me share some of my favorite dumplings from this amazing restaurant. For starters, you absolutely have to try their original pan-fried pork gyoza. They're small, crispy, and super affordable at 320 yen for one stick, as you can see in the picture, or 600 yen for two. I also highly recommend the ginger and pork gyoza as well as the curry and pork gyoza. They are really delicious. But whatever you end up ordering, you definitely need to order my favorite variety, which is the pork gyoza with gooey melted cheese and a creamy egg yolk on top. These things are life-changingly good. Seriously, please do not sleep on these. Finally, for dessert, I recommend getting an order of the chocolate gyoza with vanilla ice cream. They're a perfect end to a perfect meal. But make sure to call it an early night because we have an early start for our final day in Kyoto. The third and final day in Kyoto will bring you to a truly special place. The historic city of Nara is located to the south of Kyoto and takes about an hour to get there by train. A short walk from the main station is Nara Park. I had heard that there was a park not too far away from Kyoto that had wild deer roaming around that would bow to you if you feed them. As soon as I heard this, I did a quick internet search and found that this place is a must visit if you can spare at least a half day from your time in Kyoto. Scattered throughout the park are little stands that will sell biscuits that are wrapped in little packets that you can feed to the deer. Each packet will cost 200 yen. All of the deer here are used to being around people, and most of them are friendly enough to let you come up and pet them. But beware, if they suspect you have food in your pockets, they may nip at you to try to get it. Many deer will approach you if they think you have food. You will notice that they will appear to be bowing their head at you as if they are greeting you and preemptively thanking you for the food. We had such a fun time here feeding the deer and hanging out with them as they lounged around the park. Connecting to the park is the beautiful Kofuku-ji Temple. The temple dates all the way back to the year 669, but was originally located in Yamashina. It was then briefly moved to Fujiwara-kyo, and then finally moved to where it presently is in the year 710. It doesn't cost anything to walk around the grounds of the temple, but if you want to go into the main building, you'll have to pay a small fee. The other main attraction for the area is the Todai-ji Temple. As you walk through the park, you'll pass through a walkway with loads of souvenir shops and street food. Make sure to walk up the entire street before making a decision on what to get. You'll find everything from delicious candied fruits to scrumptious yakisoba noodles and everything in between. This is a perfect place to have a quick lunch before carrying on to the temple. There are still tons of deer here, and they're only supposed to eat the special biscuits sold in the area, so please do not feed the deer any of the street food that you can find here. As you approach the entrance to the temple, you're going to pass through a massive wooden gate. I really like seeing how connected the temple was to its natural surroundings. The deer are free to roam around here as well. As with other temples in the area, it is free to walk around the outskirts, but if you want to go into the main buildings, there is a small entrance fee. Not being one to waste any precious time while over in Japan, I would recommend making your last stop the stunning Kinkaku-ji Temple. This beautiful historic temple is located just outside the city and is very easy to reach by taxi or bus. A trip to Kyoto wouldn't be complete without visiting this iconic golden building. Well folks, that brings us to the end of our 3 days in the amazing city of Kyoto. This is one of my favorite places on earth, and I make sure to visit every time I'm in Japan. There is so much to see and do here, and the food always brings tears to my eyes. It's so delicious. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you so much for watching this video, and I truly hope you found it entertaining. I'd like to know if any of you have had the chance to visit Kyoto, and if you have, please share your experiences in the comment box below. Did you get a chance to visit any of the places I shared? If you did, what did you think of them? As always, I'll put the details of the places I've shown in the description box below. If you enjoyed the video, please smash that like button and subscribe for more content just like this. I really hope this inspires you to get out and see just how much this amazing world has to offer. And until next time, stay curious.